All right, configuring dual output mode, and we are live. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing? Hope everybody is doing well. Thank you for joining us on what is here in Texas another rainy day. Um, Lots of rain still happening in the area. But if you'll notice on the screen, we have four people today, and we are graced by the presence of a very welcome guest, Jack Young. Good morning. How are you, sir? He's like, I'm okay.
He's AFK.
I think he went to do something real quick. Anyway, Jack Young is going to be joining us.
He
So
might have muted himself.
he's still bouncing, so he's got audio. He probably just stepped away.
Yeah,
right
I'm
now.
here. I'm sorry.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
Hello, hello.
So he is here today. So thank you so much, Jack, for being here. Much appreciated.
Absolutely.
One thing that I would like to do is say good morning to the folks in chat. So me, good morning. Hope you're doing well. Jackalope Herdmaster, thank you so much for doing here. He dropped a joke at the very beginning that says, how do you determine the gender of an ant? Well, you dip it in water. If it sinks, it's a girl. If it floats, it's a boy ant.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. That's awesome. Thanks, brother. Jack Gallman, Mr. Retired from Marion, North Carolina, is on vacation. Thank you so much for popping in. AZ Coins, what's going on? Good to see you. Littlefoot is here. Me is here again. Mike Noodle, good morning. How you doing, sir? Good to see you. Moderator extraordinaire Siren, thank you so much for being here and for the support. Definitely appreciate that. James Valley is here. Jack Riley, good morning. Steve looking for silver. How you doing? We've got Emerald Coast Stacker. Top of the morning to you. Good day. Can's Claw, how you doing? Way deep inside. We have an echo. I'll have to check on that, see what's going on. Me just gifted 5 memberships. Emerald Coast, Great Scott, Kevin Rose, Dwayne Norville, and Silver Mountain. Please make sure that you say a thank you to me. All right. Well, hey, if I missed you, sorry about that. I do appreciate you being here. But I want to go ahead and dig right in to the discussion and bring my first question. Now, this is something that I've talked to a couple people in the chat about already. I want you all to be kind of aware of this, and the thing's going to go off a second while all the new supporters pop up. But the question was regarding the short that I did for July's coin contest. And a question that came from this is, Frosty, I appreciate this, but how do you tell if a coin has been, a mint mark has been added or removed, or something's been changed on the coin? How do you determine that? How do you find that out? And that is a really good question. And so we pulled up some resources. Jack sent me a number of photos, and I'm going to share with you really quick. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to go over a couple coins to kind of talk to you about this, and then we're just going to have that really quick. So what I want to do, the first thing that I want to share with you is Variety Vista. Now, the reason that I'm showing you Variety Vista is because on Variety Vista, you have the opportunity to see the design varieties. So you can come over here once you're here, click on Home, scroll down. I'm just going to click on Lincoln Cents because it's the easiest one. And you can see you have your mint mark style. You can click on the mint mark style, choose your, I'm going to choose Denver because I have a very specific one that I want to show you. And then you can see the various mint mark styles that are used depending upon the year. What I want you to notice is that 1952, 1953, you'll see that those mint marks were used across a number of the same year, but different mint marks were utilized. You can see that there are slight differences in the mint marks. And the mint marks are probably one of the very best things you can look at. The position and then the mint mark style itself. So this is going to give you the mint mark style. Now, for instance, let's say that you're looking at this one right here, the 1952. But you're looking at that mint mark on a 1953. Well, unfortunately, this mint mark style was not utilized in 1953. So it should give you some warning, should give you some pause to say, I'm not sure that this is actually accurate. Perhaps there's something wrong. Likewise, if you're looking at this particular mint mark here, and it's on a 1952, well, you will see that the year that that was in service was not 1952, it was actually 1953 was the first year for that. And this will give you another way to identify that. Now, this is just one of many. So the next thing that I'm going to show you, let me replace the screen real quick. Let me just do this with the window. And I'll share this because I want to show you, wait. Let's pull up this one. This is a 1889 Morgan dollar. Now, this is an authentic 1889 Morgan dollar. And I've got to figure out which direction the picture comes in, but this is the S. And in this particular case, we would need to look at this and say, is this authentic? So you're going to want to look at a couple different things. Now, at this point, Jack, you can see the screen, correct?
Yes.
What would you be looking at in this particular case to identify whether this is the proper S mint mark for this?
Well, the first thing I would do is go in and look at the die varieties for that date and that mint mark. Typically, we go into VAM World and look for VAMs. So the first thing would be to attribute a genuine one. And then I would do a comparison between this one and this image to the genuine ones. I would look at the mint mark shape. I would look at the mint mark location. And I would want to make sure that it actually matches a genuine known example.
Attribution, attribution, attribution.
Yeah, I say that in a few of my podcasts.
Just a couple. One thing that's important to look at here as well is looking at some of the tooling marks that are around this particular mint mark, right?
Absolutely.
But again, we talk about this when you're looking at varieties as well, right?
Yes.
Look at your die markers before you really try to attribute the coin, right?
Exactly.
Because if they're not there, you probably don't have the one. And Eric and I, and I can't remember, we've talked about this. We had Chuck on the horn when we were talking about this last time. And that was reverses and obverses can change in the middle of a run. And so if you're looking at something that has all the die markers on the obverse, but then you flip it over, it doesn't mean that all those markers are going to be on the reverse. So you're going to want to make sure that you're checking those particular items. Now, Jack Riley says, check the edge. Oops, that's the wrong one. I've got to make sure I'm going the right way.
Third side is important.
Yeah, there is the edge of this. Now, this is really important because you can see where the vice kind of held this coin, right? So you can see the damage on that particular area. But there was something else, and I tried to find this. I talked to Paula just a little bit ahead of time regarding this. And there was something that I learned that I had never heard of. And I want you guys to talk about this. And Paula was like, yes, I heard about this. And Eric was like, hadn't heard about this.
Nope.
Drilling a hole in the rim to create the mint mark from the inside of the coin.
Yes.
And how does that occur? That's, again, embossing, right? Yes. So how do you determine that? What do you look for? Because that was like, I was like, wow, how in the world do they do that?
How do you determine that?
Yeah, so how it, because
by looking at the edge.
Exactly. Look
well,
for
I understand that, but if you look at this, how would you determine that this is one that's been embossed? By the change here?
By the change in the reading.
Yeah.
Changing the edge.
So this is what you would be looking
There
at.
is a video on, I believe it's on the American Numismatic Association site about altered coins. And that may be where you saw it.
Maybe.
Yeah, and the color, exactly, Jack. Yeah. Just it will be different. It will look different than the rest of the coin, than the rest of the edge.
Yeah, so Jack Riley saying changing reading width and color. And I can see the coloration change here. So obviously they've done some repair work on the coin.
Let me see if I can find it.
And then I guess, yeah, they do change. But I didn't know that they had embossed those. This is something that was new to me. Yeah, so and that's something else, Jack. That's a great point. Reading, that's a tedious task. Oh, by the way, Dan McCumber, thank you so much for becoming a member. I saw that and was looking at something else and totally missed that. But thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. But yeah, this is something again. So don't forget looking at the third one. Here's another one. This is another great example of an altered coin. Again, you're looking at the coin having been, the mint mark being removed. And in this case, you can see the discoloration and the tooling marks that are there.
So embossing, this is what NGC says, it's another type of added mint mark known as embossing, can often be much more deceptive. In this case, a hole is drilled into the edge of a coin. A specialized tool, usually made from needle nose pliers, is then inserted into the tiny hole until it is directly underneath the place where the mint mark should be. Then the tool is closed, pushing metal up to form a mint mark on the surface of the coin. This often creates a very realistic looking mint mark. So I will, let me copy this link. I'm on my tablet, so I'm gonna have to send it to you, Frostbite and Messenger, and then you can.
The NGC link?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you look at those images, that's where I got this.
No, you were asking where you saw about the added mint mark on the edge, that you couldn't remember where you saw that.
No. The thing that I saw the first time wasn't NGC. NGC is where I pulled these images from. The other site was in a forum, and they were talking about drilling a hole into it, and I had never heard of that.
This is what I just read is on this NGC site. That's what I'm saying.
So yeah, I'll pull up the NGC site and put that link into the description down below. But again, you can look at the altered surfaces, and again, this is the 95. You can see the mint mark here. And again, it's important to look at where the mint mark should be, especially if the variety or the item that you're looking for, in this particular case, you're looking at a coin that the Philadelphia's, more prized. You can look at that. The San Francisco, like this one right here, the CC, right? We see the CC, the altered surfaces. You can see the discoloration. Hold on just a sec. There you go. The altered surface, the discoloration around it. The mint mark is in the wrong position, or the wrong thickness, the wrong style. So again, you can look at your die pairings. You can look at your sites that have been provided. Look at the sites for VAMs and things of that nature. They'll show you mint mark. And then Jack sent me this, which I appreciate you sending me. It talks about the positioning and the mint marks so that you can see exactly what the positioning is supposed to be and whether they're tilted right, tilted left, and things of that nature. So you can look at the VAMs. They will show you mint mark position, style, and things of that nature. So there's a lot of resources available to you to do this, but it is one of those things where you have to do a little bit of research or take really good pictures of it. And Jack, I think it might be. Send that to the to me or Paula, and we'll make sure that we get that into one of the Jack's hands, or join their Facebook group, right? But join Fun with Fakes, and post it there and ask questions, and then they will break it down. Tons of knowledgeable people in that site.
Hey, Frosty,
Yeah,
do you have the other images that I sent you? Because that's really a pretty cool coin.
that one.
So, yeah, that one. So this one actually passed muster both at a heritage auction as well as a TPG. I mean, they called it improperly claimed, but they called it genuine 1881. And then you can see the discoloration if you look at it. I mean, even from that image, you can see the discoloration over the 81. You can see the discoloration, over the CC. So that's the same one I showed you the attribution page for. So this is an altered mint mark. And after I notified the TPG, I think I sent you an image that showed the actual online cert. It now says contact customer service because it's not a good coin.
So hopefully you're not the one that owns this coin. But if you are, reach out to Jack.
The opportunity, I would.
Interested.
And no question about it. I went in and looked and see. Every now and then Heritage has a make offer to owner, and I actually picked up one of my best counterfeits that way, but no, this one wasn't available.
Yeah, I appreciate you sending this. Again, it's this kind of stuff. If you're on Fun with Fakes, you'll see a lot of these things. You'll see a lot of great discussion. I don't know if you guys want to bring up the coin that we were talking about earlier, or if that's something that we want to hold off on. What's up, Ground Fog? Now, I want to say something really quick. Ground Fog is almost always the very first person when I post a live or I post a video that comes in and waves their hand. I want to say thanks. Johnny on the spot, always there. I appreciate the support on that. Always pops in to say hi, so thanks for that. Good morning, Sorcerer Stan. How you doing? Oh, outstanding. Just got a coin from him. So, but anyways, that's how you kind of look at those. Now, there's another one that Jack was talking about, and excuse me for running through these really quick, and that was altered surfaces. So, Jack, what do you want to talk about relating to the altered surface, and what were you trying to talk about on this particular coin?
Well, first of all, this is actually one of the struck counterfeits, and the TPG is well aware. I've written several articles on this particular coin, and in fact, the seller on eBay had sent it in to NGC, and they looked at it and they came back non-encapsulated altered surfaces. And I've had some discussion with NGC about that. This coin was doctored in a way that they tried to hide some of the main attribution points that I've documented in several articles, but the majority of them are still visible. Then I also had it XRF for silver, and it's too high silver content. And there's a number of things wrong with it. But I guess my point with this is this one went back to the seller, and he felt empowered to try to sell it as genuine because it doesn't say it's not. And had they actually looked at their own database and looked at some of the numbers of coins just like this that are in their slabs, to me, this one is one that should have come back counterfeit. We talked about the 31S's this morning. I know that's off topic a bit, but that gentleman had a whole list of coins came back from PCGS as counterfeit. This one should clearly have said counterfeit and would have stopped the discussion. But it was listed for almost $10,000. There were two of us that know this coin. One actually owned the genuine source coin, and we both contacted the seller, and my friend actually negotiated the sale, and now I actually have the coin in hand. So I took it to ICG when I was down in Tampa over the week, and we had a nice discussion, put it under a microscope, and it has some very interesting tooling marks and some other things in it that we really haven't seen before. One of them we're trying to identify how did it even happen. But again, to me, this one should have been called counterfeit, not altered surface, because nowhere does it actually say that it's not a genuine coin.
So let's talk. Is it the cleaning, the extensive cleaning that they did, or is it the tooling marks that caused
It's
them to
actually
do the
too,
altered
yeah,
service?
I didn't say, I'm actually writing an article on this, and I've got some very good microscopic pictures of it in comparison to
Oh,
uh,
beautiful. Okay.
the first one I own. Yeah, so there's a real depth of detail associated with it. But again, this is a documented counterfeit. There are 16 now. I wrote a little article about one I found in Chicago at Central States at a dealer's counter, and kind of didn't make his day when I went through and showed him that it was not actually genuine. Um, and we talked about the 1806, I think, in one of your last weekend ones. So it's kind of like the gift that keeps giving. These counterfeits are so good that they continue to show up, and they continue to get misidentified as far as I'm concerned.
If you'll do me a favor, if you can drop your link into one of your Facebook groups and some of those various sources that you have. I know that I don't know if you have a page that has the majority of your like articles listed or anything.
I do. If you go into Coin Week, and it's funny because there are times when I will see a coin and say that looks familiar, and I go into Coin Week and I just scroll for counterfeits and Jack Young. I find my own articles.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, there's over 80 articles in Coin Week, very specific. And then if you go into Proxy Blog, Jack Riley is doing a great job of adding additional articles on different counterfeits, current counterfeits that he's finding. And so between Coin Week and Proxy Blog and the two Jacks, you can find a number of articles associated with these counterfeits.
Very cool. I'm going to try and pull that up. Did Paula lose power? I just noticed she was gone.
I know I didn't hear her anymore.
Well, she was on her tablet. Maybe the tablet died.
Yeah, she said she lost power. Okay. I just looked up. I'm like, hey, there were 4 and now there are 3. What's up with that? All right, no worries. If you get it back, please come back. Always great having you in here. So again, let me pull this up and I will walk everybody through this. I want to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and share this and I'll just walk through exactly what you just said. So as you're here, you can simply just go to the search button, type in Jack Young.
Actually, it's Coin Week.
Oh, Coin Week. Sorry,
Yeah.
don't.
Now I have my first article on Coin World ever, back in May, but Coin Week is where all my other ones were posted.
And you go ahead and hit your search button.
Yeah.
And then you should have a couple articles. Yeah, just a couple.
There's just a few.
Just a couple. Yeah. So if you want to look up some of this stuff and read on this, go to Coin Week, type in Jack Young, and then the item, whether you're looking at eBay or whether you're looking at some of the various sites. Or I loved this one. This was great. Stemmed some great discussion. But again, you can look through here and see one of these. One of the things that I really enjoyed, and this was when I first was introduced to Jack. I asked him about this. This was one of the very first articles that I really read in depth. And I was like, can you explain to me why you call them Red Book? And actually, I would like you to offer that explanation to others, because why would you call them a Red Book counterfeit?
It's funny. When I initially looked at some of these counterfeits, I called them Chinese cartoon counterfeits. And basically, they are counterfeits that are made freehand. They're not. They could be die struck, but they're not basically scanning a genuine coin and duplicating the original details. They're going in and dropping in freehand details that look similar to the coin. And it looks like a cartoon or a caricature. And then I've kind of broadened that into what I call Red Book counterfeits. And these are counterfeits, again, if you go in just with the basic knowledge of a Red Book, you can find that this particular coin doesn't match any of the listed images. Or it may be a coin where it's got the wrong type reverse, or it's a date that didn't exist for that particular mint mark. And those I call red books. And it's one of the things I tell people: get a red book. I mean, it may sound kind of elementary, but it really is a good starting point when you're first getting into the hobby to help you identify some of these things and understand really what you're looking at.
And that's really important. And again, that is the proper utilization of a red book. It's not a pricing guide.
Right.
So
Exactly.
remember that when you're looking at the red book is not a pricing guide. You will hear channels. Matter of fact, we were talking about one in particular, a gentleman just before the stream, that will tell you you can do that. Don't do that. Because by the time the book is printed, that stuff has already changed and those numbers have shifted. And God forbid you're looking at a book like mine, which came out in like 2007. Those prices definitely are going to be wrong. So I still haven't received my new red book. I wonder why. I'll have to look and see that. But yeah, definitely don't be looking at the red book for your pricing guide. But you can get a lot of great information. You can get things like mintages. You can get things like good photos. You can find things that are there that tell you certain things about the coin. So whether it's a reeded edge or whether it's a lettered edge or whether it's a plain edge, right? So there's a lot of great information in the red book. Just make sure that you're not utilizing it as a pricing guide. I want to address one other question. And Littlefoot, I'm going to have you put it back in chat. I asked you at the very beginning of the stream. It was a good question, but I wanted you to please re-put that in there. It's a volume play. Yeah, basically that's exactly right, Mike. You can look at mintages and things like that. There are some really good uses for the red book. You just don't want to be utilizing it to make financial decisions. So we'll wait for Littlefoot to put that in. Are there any other questions? We've got, that's what today's for, question and answer. So if you do have questions, type in the word question all in caps so that we can track it, and then feel free to ask your question.
Hey, Frosty.
Yeah.
I sent you a question for Mike about a counterfeit that came over his counter, and he had posted in a couple of Facebook groups.
Oh, yeah, you did. The Mike, I don't know if you have the availability. You have the link if you want to come up real quick. He was talking about the 2025 flowing hair. And that was something that as soon as I seen that come across on Facebook, I made a short about it. And then not more than a week or 2 weeks later, all of a sudden people are saying they're inundating these their coin shops. They're all over the place. The flowing hair was a 2024 metal that came out. Obviously the 238, the ones with privies. And then, but Mike posted one, and matter of fact, Jack, why don't you just ask your question, because you're sitting right here.
I will. Mike, I was really curious about how that conversation went down between you and the customer when he brought that in, and I think you still have it in hand. But how did that go? How did you tell him? How did that communication go?
So here, let me do this real quick. And I do have this image. So this is the coin that we're talking about right here. Zoom that in a little bit. There you go. And again, obviously the 2025 is it's not real, right? There's no such thing. It's not on the United States Mint website. It's never been sold by the U.S. Mint. Thanks, Littlefoot. I'll get back to that here in just a second, okay? I'm going to copy that real quick, and I'll get back to that. Yeah, so again, that's the question that Jack was asking is, what conversation was had with the person who brought this in? Now, folks, if you're going to be buying something that's a U.S. Mint product, go to the U.S. Mint website and make sure that they created it.
Because you would find that would be the 231st anniversary coin.
Yeah, and so you're going to see these things. If you go to the U.S. Mint website and you don't see it, I got a problem, right? It's not an authentic coin. It's not an authentic piece. Just waiting for Mike's response in chat. He's probably typing up a small novel. But again, Mike, you have an open invitation. If you want to come up, you're more than welcome to hop on up and do that. We'll wait for his. While we're waiting for his response, I want to jump into Littlefoot's really, really quickly. 3 goals: $250 90% coins, 200 ounces in silver rounds, 1 ounce of gold. Which should I concentrate on? Concentrate on the one you think you can accomplish first. Small bite-sized pieces. Which is the one that you have the most availability to. If it's the $250 and you're limited on budget, focus on the $250 ones. And then work in that, because remember, if you do $250 90% coins, that's going to count towards your 200 ounces in silver. So work small, work up. The other thing is if you're going to be doing an ounce of gold, and I know you're going to be doing fractional because you can't do that, save up and buy 1/4 ounce gold instead of 10th ounce or Grammys, because you're going to be paying way less in premiums. So make sure that you try to save a little bit and do it that way, because that'll definitely help you. I talked him into giving me one of the flowing hairs of the 53 to use as an educational tool.
So he had 53 fakes. Beautiful.
Oh my goodness. Hey Frosty, I just PM'd you some images of his and another one that was on eBay.
Yeah, well, see, this is another thing. So if you guys will go look at the short that I did on this, one thing that was extremely important, and I pointed this out, the flowing hair in 2024, when the flowing hair metal came out, there were a limited number of these, right? And if you go look at these, now I just picked up one of these from the 2024, not the 2025, from a buddy in the community, because one of my friends wanted one. And so he's like, if you find one that's a decent price, let me know. A 2024 is going to cost you $225, $250, $280, somewhere in that area. If you're going to find one, oh, I bet he was upset. If you're going to find these online for $35, $55, then yeah, you should have some sort of inkling. But just like Jack was talking about with the counterfeits, you're talking about the Red Book. I'll pull those up here just a second, Jack. This is something that can easily be identified by simply going to the U.S. Mint website. Okay, just like the Red Book that Jack was just talking about. When you're looking at U.S. Mint products, when you're looking at Kookaburra products, when you're Perth products, or the Royal Mint or the Canadian Mint or things like that, you can go validate and verify those simply by looking at the government sourced website. This is why they post their stuff. This is why they post the specificity of the coin. They're going to give you the dimensions. They're going to give you the thickness. They're going to give you the weight. They're going to give you the metallurgical makeup, etc. Right? So go, before you buy anything like that at all, go validate and verify, number one, that it's an authentic item, and then get your measurements. Get those things that you need to be looking for. Get those things that you need to be testing for, because they're all going to be listed on that particular item for that. I just got notification. I can't tell what it says. Oh, Joe Jose Gomez, thank you for subscribing. Much appreciated. Appreciate that. So Jack, let me pull up that those images you gave me. Just a sec. Let me get there. Oh, this goofy meta freaking thing makes me do this every time. It drives me insane. All right, let's share this. All right, here's another one. This is one you pulled off eBay?
Yes, this is one that was actually listed on eBay. That particular seller had 4 of those, and I was successful in getting them all removed.
Yeah.
It's a bad slab. You can see, there's no PCGF insignia in the lower corner. There's, it doesn't scan. The certain number is not good. I mean, it's just too many things wrong. But somebody looked at it and said, "Boy, that's a really unhappy Liberty." And it's like, yeah, it really is.
Well, and this is I don't know about you, but there's some rub marks on her cheek. How in the hell did it come across as a 70?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But again, this goes back to what Jack said just a moment ago regarding the Red Book fakes, right? Just look at your resources before you buy. Again, caveat emptor, buyer beware. You should have some sort of book knowledge, and go look at the website. Go check the pricing. The problem is items like this, and we stated this in 2024 when these came out, and I told you, I promised you, go back and look at the live stream where we did the privy and the opening and stuff like that. We talked at that time that this coin, this metal was going to be counterfeited. There was a demand for these. There was a big public thing on it. There were both good and negative connotations to it. But this was going to happen. We knew this was going to happen because there was a high demand for it. People who aren't really paying attention or aware or knowledgeable, right? You can't call them foolish. They just are uninformed. See this and go, oh my God, I might have the chance to get one, right? And so they look at some of the prices. They see the 2024 going from anywhere from $250 to $4,000, depending upon whether or not I add the privy mark. And they're like, oh my God, somebody doesn't know what they have. I can get a steal here. And, the road is paved with good intentions. And, people, again, I don't want to ridicule somebody, but these things are something that quickly can be identified just by looking at the US Mint website.
And it has a $100 bid. And
it's $100. Yeah. When you're looking at normal ones that are, $250, and I got a good deal on the one that I picked up from one of our community members for $225. They cut me a deal because I've done a lot of stuff with them, and they just wanted to do something nice for me. And I told them that I was picking this up for another buddy, and so I have mine. You guys know the one that I have, and so he was like, I wanted to get one, but I just couldn't get there. And, now they're so much money. You can find one raw, like I said, between 250, 280, and many of them even try to go higher than that. So you do have to be very careful on eBay. What's up, Mr. and Mrs. West Texas? I want to make sure you guys are okay. You guys are up north too. I know we mentioned some stuff regarding flooding and stuff, and I want to make sure you guys are okay. I think you guys are above it. I think it's the massive flooding is right in between our two locations. But hope you guys are doing well and free of all of that chaos. There's a T in America on the reverse. Hold on. Say that one more time. Oh, check this out.
Yeah. There is, absolutely is. That's Mike's. The one you just pulled up is Mike's.
Yeah, that is freaking America.
Yeah, America. America.
America. That is, you guys see this right here? Let me do this. I'm going to have to download, open. It's going to have to come up so that I can zoom in. Unfortunately, I can't zoom in there. Check this out. Look at this. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I have something. Just a sec. Let me do this. This is something that play screening, fire screen. There we go. Okay, I have this thing. Look at this. Watch this. Watch this. Where am I?
You're not going to draw on it, are you?
Look.
Not now.
No, I've got that here. Let's do this. Okay. So, you don't want me to draw on it?
You can. It's great.
You're like, you're a freaking goofball. Yeah, so
So
right here.
am I.
Look at that. Oh, yeah. It's just fun toys, you know. Boys with toys. Anyway, so
Absolutely. Where's Paula?
like, please get this fool off of here. Okay, I won't draw anymore. I will save you from my
Oh,
my
no,
horrible
draw it.
artistic renditions. Yeah, that is insane. So again, you know, being observant, monitoring those things. Our public education system's so bad that people have started spelling America with T. Well, yeah, but the fact is that, you know, again, how could they have missed it? That's yeah, that's a rare priceless error, Sorcerer Stan. I would like to get one of these just because it's screwy. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
I'll put them in the fridge.
Oh, too much fun. Check Messenger. Yeah, I just saw that. Yeah, that is hilarious. But again, yeah, so fun stuff. I'm glad you pointed that out. I might have I didn't look at it that closely. I mean, again, it's a 2025. I wasn't going to dig into that. And so, yeah, Pedro's like, I've been misspelling America all these years. That's too much fun. Mrs. West Texas Stacker says, we are good here. Odessa officer and his girlfriend are missing. Yeah, I've got a friend up doing some rescue and recovery efforts, and he's sent me some stuff. It's pretty sad. 47 lost, 28 adults, 15 kids, 27 still missing. But on the good side, 850 plus have been rescued for the effort. So there's some good news, but that kids camp is really, really sad news. So be praying for the family members of that devastation. That's some sad stuff. Yeah, very, very unfortunate. So, all right. Well, what else we got? What other questions do you all have? Jack, I don't know if you want to, did you want to talk about that thing that we were talking about beforehand? Or is that something you'd rather wait on or not discuss?
The Lincoln? Yeah, I just assume wait. I've got some communication going with the owner right now.
Copy that. Daviolio asks it's actually quite a common question. Is it actually legal to own a collection of fake coins? You want to take that one, Jack?
Well, there's a lot of debate about that, but to be honest, the U.S. counterfeiting laws describe a coin as counterfeit when there is intent to defraud. So a coin basically becomes a counterfeit and not a copy, not a replica, whatever it might be, when someone actually tries to sell it as a genuine coin. Now, I've had conversation with Secret Service, I was fortunate actually to have a meeting with Secret Service back in 2018 in DC with the anti-counterfeiting task force at the time, and went over a number of very good counterfeits that were slipping into TPG holders and identified who was making those and who the money man was. And there's a lot of details there that I've explained in a lot of different podcasts. But his comment to me was, if you had counterfeits set out and Secret Service was there, they would be obligated to take them. And then you would have to go through the legal process to have them returned. So there's so many dealers that have black boxes because of things like Mike said, stuff that comes across the counter, and it comes across the counter probably more prevalent now than it has in some time. And there are people that actually have collections of counterfeits and use them for educational purposes. I know at least one individual that does that. So it's kind of a tightrope that you walk with that. It depends on where you're at and what's going on. But obviously, if I took any of the coins in my collection and tried to sell them as genuine coins, then I would be in violation of the law.
Now, with that being stated, there are some, because again, when you look at the letter of intent, right, the law regarding the Coin Act and the Hobby Protection Act of '73, and the follow up that was done, I believe it was 02 or 12 or something like that, where they updated it. It states very clearly that you're supposed to mark this with the word copy in relation to the coin's size. However, we have things like the Henning nickel. We have things like the Omega Man gold, where collectors are not going to do that. If you have an authentic, and we talked about this. A lot of people like the story regarding the V nickel, the racketeering nickel. There we
Yes.
go. People are not going to want to mar up an original of one of those particular items because, again, the value is in the counterfeit itself, right? Because this is the story, it's the history.
There is, but if you look at the Hobby Protection Act, it talks about identifying coins that were made after the Hobby Protection Act went into law. So you have all the coins, all the replicas, all the copies prior to that date that do not need to be marked. And so that opens up another real gray area as far as when was that coin actually coined.
Yeah, that's why I said Jack Riley. That's why I specifically said 1973. Because, again, it's one of those things where, there's a lot of a Henning nickel wasn't created in 1905 because the coins were created mid to late 40s. So we know that there's going to be some of them, like this 2025, clearly covered under the Hobby Protection Act, right? Because there's no way it could have been done pre '73. We just know that, and so it's important to understand that if you're presenting these and you're teaching people about how to identify these, and like Jack is constantly showing images of these things and writing articles and informing people, there is a very clear intent on what his intent is, and that is the education and information dissemination. Coins making sense. It's going to love this, to a numismatic nation. But really informing that variety, informing that issue, informing that counterfeit, informing that altered service, informing those items so that we know what to look for, right? This is actually a tool that we have to identify, just like if you're trying to identify what's real, right? Eric, we talk about this when you're looking at pennies. People go, how in the world do you see these things? It's look at a bunch of them.
Yeah.
How do you get good at grading? Grade coins. How do you get good at that? Look at a lot of graded examples. I mean, so you have to look at counterfeits to understand counterfeits. You have to look at authentic things in order to identify those things. And so it can be sticky, but again, there is intent. But you're not going to want to take a full collection, like you said, to a coin show and then just run around and saying, "Hey, look at all these fake coins I have." Probably not wise. Let's go to another one. But that was a great question. I definitely appreciate that. Emerald Coast. I'm noticing that the younger generation are fewer collectors in this expanding digital world. Do you think the do you think the future of coin collecting is bright? Or coin collecting waxes and wanes depending upon what's happening. There are lots of great opportunities that, in my opinion, this is Frosty's opinion, have been recently blown by the U.S. Mint with engaging people. However, to that end, we see some people like Jack Riley, who's in here, who are a younger generation who are growing our hobby, who are very knowledgeable, that are really digging in, really understanding what's going on. So it's not dead. But when you think of what is required to be a coin collector, you also have age. You also have the ability to purchase. You also have, where is their focus? Is their focus on generating a family? Because we see this, and Paula can validate this. We have people in our community who are really good, solid people, and they meet a person of the opposite sex, and then they disappear for a while because it's the relation, right? So there are periods in time and age where people fade away, and then they come back. Same thing happened with me. For 15 years, 16 years, I didn't even look and touch coins because it was about being a dad and taking care of the young kids and focusing on getting my work together and really doing that kind of stuff. And now that the kids are older, they're self-reliant, they can take care of things like that. The house is taken care of, the job is secure, I have more money to do that. Now I'm getting back into it. So we see a gap. But I think that there are things that we can do to stimulate the youth. COVID did a lot for coin collecting, both good and bad.
W quarters did.
The state, I was just about to say that, state quarters, right? That's another example. So it's not that it's dying. Now, there are a lot of kids that are young. And again, if we have anybody that are financially based, even when you look at investments and strategy and things of that nature, when you're younger, it's okay to take more risk. When you get older, you want a little bit more security, right? And so when you're younger, you're looking at taking advantage. You don't mind spending a ton of time to mine Bitcoin or to do some of this stuff. But when you get older, your money's more important to you. The preservation of wealth is more important to you. And so we see people shifting from the wild, up and down, chaotic schemes of the digital world and coming back into physical assets. And not all of them, and some of them are absolutely dead set against it. But again, a lot of it is age-based. And so as those people get older, they're going to wax and wane in and out of that. Is coin collecting dying? No. Is it getting stronger? In some cases, yes. In some cases, no. What I would say is what we really run the risk on, okay? This is something, yeah, Mike, and that's exactly where I'm going. Information dissemination. Okay, why do I say this? I want you to think of the numismatic intelligence of Jack Young. I want you to think of the numismatic intelligence of Chuck Daughtry. I want you to think of the numismatic intelligence of Paula Bloom. I want you to think of the numismatic intelligence of the Livecoin Q&A or the Coin Show podcast or Harlan J. Burke, or all of these different folks, and we're all getting older. And finding people like the amazing Jack Young, who's coming in and taking this hobby, those are going to people that are carrying the torch. Those are going to be the people who are carrying the mantle that are going to trade that information, that are going to carry that information on. That's what we need to foster. Those are the relationships that we need to build. That's where the information, this is why it's so important to me to build a network of communication, to build a network of people where we can get the information from these people who have the numismatic know-how, the numismatic knowledge, the history, the study, and get that into the brains of people who find this interesting, and then they can take that on. That is our greatest risk. The older generation is the greatest risk. Losing them is the greatest risk to numismatics. And so, Jack and Eric, what are your guys' thoughts on this? Because again, it's like stamps. We saw some cool things in stamps, but stamps went away. But it was technology to some degree, but we lost a lot of the knowledge.
I do believe that technology is what took stamps. Nobody wants to collect stickers as far as stamp collectors go. And the same thing happened to stamps, though. Artistically, they're just not the same as they were back in the 50s and 60s. It deteriorated. So,
what are your thoughts, Jack?
I guess from my perspective, I've written some things and talked to some people. I actually started collecting back in, my son said the dinosaurs still roam the earth, but with my grandmother pulling wheat pennies out of collection and put them in one of those blue penny boards. And that really got me interested in coin collecting. And I got interested in early American copper and joined the EAC back in 2002 and got focused on 1794s by Die State, which is a pretty eclectic group of people and coins, and really got to where I think I had 55 of the 58 collectible varieties, and realized that I had way too much money invested in the coins. And I had other things going on with family and kids growing up and college coming on, and decided to sell that collection and came out okay with that. And said, how am I going to reinvent myself? I actually talked to people about, quitting the group. And they said, you'll find your niche. You'll find something. You'll find something that will interest you. And lo and behold, a counterfeit large cent came out back in 2015 in a TPG holder. And it's like, wow, this is amazing. I can do this. And I started into some internet searches and went down a big rabbit hole and continued down that rabbit hole here in the last 10 years. So I kind of reinvented myself. I then got involved in collecting early large cents by date and countermarked. And many people say, well, countermarks are damage. And they are. So therefore, you can get some pretty rare dates and rare varieties at a much less price. But they're historical. Many of those are listed in Brunk, and you can go in and actually look and see who did that and what was involved with that, and this blacksmith there and whatever it might be. And so that kind of restoked the fires. And so I've become involved in that as a continuing collecting focus, but obviously very focused in the counterfeit researching and writing of articles. And as I still have a day job, that becomes my backup plan as far as things that I'm doing, in my off time. So my wife says it keeps me young, it keeps my mind going, and I really enjoy it. But I think the camaraderie of other groups in the hobby, the camaraderie in some of the Facebook groups that I'm involved in, to go to coin shows and see people 1 or 2 times a year and really connect is really a big part of the hobby as well. And the last major coin show I went to was in Chicago, and I met some young up and coming, numismatists, young guys, and had dinner with them and a beer with them. And it's like, the hobby's going to be okay with folks like that are going to continue to carry the torch. And then I take things to my grandchildren. I was in Florida and I brought my 5-year-old granddaughter a little mint set and explained it to her, and she's all fired up about it. And I think I said previously, when I go to Tampa, I have the opportunity to go into ICG and sit down with Skip, who's a friend and one of the best authenticators I know in the business, and go over some of the counterfeits. And I brought my son-in-law in for the first time. only to find out that he was interested in it and thought it was cool and thought about it from a systematic standpoint. And of course, I'm an engineer, and he's an artist, so we kind of work with each other as far as looking at things. And he actually helped me look at a few things a little bit differently, I guess, going forward. So, I think the hobby will continue to grow. Obviously, the value and things that are going on within the hobby right now are pretty good. But the counterfeits are a big risk. And we worry about the young people that get involved in the hobby, and the first thing they buy is a so-called PCGS slab coin, only to find out it's counterfeit because they haven't done the research. So that is one of the risks going forward, and probably one of the things that drives me to continue to do the reports and do the articles, the same as Jack Riley. I mean, let's talk about passing a torch. He is very involved in the same thing and continues to move it forward as well. So
Agree. Yeah, it's a great discussion, and again, it goes back to community, right? Building that network of people. You want to have people in that ask you the good questions. I always challenge people when it comes to Paula. Paula is very knowledgeable, and a lot of people are like, well, sometimes she's pretty harsh, and it's like, you know what? I would rather have her harshness and honesty, because you know where you stand. And working in the medical field, I deal with doctors all the time who don't have a great bedside manner, but there is no arguing the amount of intelligence and the know-how that they bring to their field. And so there are different things that you have to understand when you look at building your community and building your network. And one of them is you need seasoned people in your network, but you also need new people in your network, because the new people are going to keep you honest. They're going to ask you some really tough questions that you may not think about, and they're going to force you to remember the basics. I always refer back to one of my very favorite statements. It's something that an uncle of mine pulled me aside. He said, I want you to watch this video. And it was Vince Lombardi. And Vince Lombardi walked out, and he was professional dream crusher. Yeah, Mike and Paula are both known as that. But he has set me down and watched this video. And Vince Lombardi come out onto the field, and he sat down, and all of these are NFL pros. And he picked up a football, and he said, what is this? And he said, and people are kind of looking at each other like, what the hell? We know what this is. It's what we're due, coach. And he was like, I need you to go sit on the bench. You're out. I don't need sarcasm. I need people who understand that this is a football. And if you don't know what this is, you can't play this game. And it's really getting back to the basics of things. We're going to talk more. Paula asked me a question about this. I really want to get back into doing some of the minting process, really get to the crux of the basis of how these things are created. I have a project. I just reached out to a company, and I'm working on a video. I'm actually going to be traveling to do this video. And so I'm going to talk about some of the old style presses and how they're done, maintenance, how they utilize those, how many they could do per hour, and really break this down. I'm coordinating with the people. I just talked with them yesterday. I got authorization to do it. I just need to book the flight and get my butt over there, and then we'll record this information and share it with you, because I really want to get back to the basics so you can actually see the history of how things were done and what it actually took. And so there's a lot of good things coming on. But again, there's so many people here. I mean, look at the brain power of the folks in chat from so many different aspects. So again, it's really good to have a good solid network, and that's what's important here. That's one thing that I strive to do. I do want to go into one of Azure's questions. It says, can Jack go into almost any coin show and find fakes?
Well, often I can. And again, it's interesting that back at the Central State Show back in Chicago, I actually found a counterfeit 1836 Go brick that was listed for $12,500.
Ouch.
And it's funny because Mike actually asked me at that last day if I'd found any counterfeits, and I said, well, yes, actually, Mike, I did. And that was a very tough discussion. And I'll be honest, I spent some time trying to decide how I was going to approach it because I knew the coin was fake. I knew the coin, where it had come from. I knew the dealer that had sold it. And that makes it awkward. And so I had my coin and I had my article, one of the CoinWeek articles, on my phone. And I walked up and asked to see it, and he pulled it out of a case of coins that he had. And I asked if I could take some images, and I did. And then I walked away and regrouped, and I came back and I asked him if anybody had suggested it might be counterfeit. And he said, of course not. He said, especially from where, I bought it. And so then I showed him mine, and then I showed him my article, and there was absolutely no mistaking the fact that it was one of the struck counterfeits. And so he got a very deadpan look on his face, and he thanked me, but it was a very challenged discussion from there. And I don't know where that went from there. He actually blurted out who he bought it from, and I knew who it was. So hopefully he was able to return it and get his money back for it. But I've gone into shows, and of course, I've got my name badge on, and I've had dealers literally tell me, I would rather you not look at my coins on my case because I know what you're looking for. And it's like, okay, I'll walk away. So I have found a number in coin shows, and I go in looking for coins that might add to my collection, but I go in and I absolutely look for coins that I know that are some of the struck counterfeits.
So I'm throwing in the video, and I think this is
I
the
just
one.
did it. Oh, you did it too.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We posted the exact same one. That's great thinking right there. I don't know if that's good for either one of us, though, that we're on the same page. No, but thanks for running that in there, Eric. But yeah, it's that's one of the videos, Livecoin Q&A, that they talked about that. There's a number of interviews on there that go check out if you're interested in looking at this. I want to go to, and I know Coach, to a degree, he's asking a rhetorical question, but it's a very good one, and it's one that a lot of people outside the community ask. Why do you collect coins? Historical and artistic value, the thrill of the hunt, the potential for financial gain, the satisfaction of building personal legacy. Now, what I didn't know if this was a comment or if this was a statement. So I'm going to look at it as a question. So why do we collect coins? So in this, I'm going to ask, I'll start with Eric. What got you into collecting coins? What is it about coin collecting that really kind of like drives you?
My grandfather got me into it when I was a child, gave me a bunch of Morgan dollars and a bunch of silver certificates. Actually took me to the bank because it was like 72 or 71. And there was a certain date you had to turn them in to get the silver dollars from the bank. And then I loved it, and I found a Buffalo nickel. And then, of course, I became a teenager, and coins were not in my near any veil of importance. I was, doing what teenagers do. And I had a family, and then my son wanted a Whitman book. So I bought him a set of Whitman books, and we bought a bunch of pennies and started going through and filling all the slots out. And he lasted about 6 months, 8 months. And then I had already started. I had started buying more pennies, and Then I was like, yeah, I want a whole roll set. I started buying rolls of rolls of pennies. In one of the dealers, he says, you should be looking for die varieties. And then die varieties, it engaged my mind. So I really liked it because it kept me busy. It allowed me to start sleeping because I used to stay up late and get up early and stuff like that. And then interest, and then I made friends. And well, now you know, hoarding. I hoard now. One thing out of all those comments you said, it was like, yeah, that's a good reason to collect. Financial gain is not one of the reasons I collect. Somebody is going to earn their money when they sell my collection.
Yeah, and that brings up another good point. I want to address that afterwards because there's another question that is on my sheet. What about you, Jack? What got you into collecting?
Well, like I said earlier, I actually started with my grandmother putting pennies in a Whitman blue board, and that got me interested. And back then, you could pull a lot of those out of circulation. I actually still have that board. When she passed, that was one of the things that was in her group of items that I hung on to. And I guess I would go to a place. There was an arcade in Dayton. They had a coin shop, and I bought a couple large cents and just thought those were just the coolest things. And started to get some information and started to look at Coin World and some of the other publications, and got interested in that. And like many, I got married. I got a full-time job, and I'd bought a couple coins before we got married that I still actually own. But other priorities kind of got me moving away from that. And then I got involved with early copper in 2002 from a friend. I had gone to a coin show and looked at some more early copper, and I said, I think this just bit me. I got bit by the copper bug, and decided to start collecting those. So I never collected from the standpoint of trying to profit from it. I collected from the history. I collected from probably from an engineering standpoint, just the degree of collecting a complete set of something was just seemed cool.
That might be it.
Yeah, particularly when it's difficult. It was a difficult series to collect. And but I ended up, like I said, with more money invested than once I stepped back and looked at it, I said I can't really justify this at this point in time as we started having children and other financial obligations. So being involved in counterfeits kind of reinvented me, and I'm more into it from the study of it. I'm more into it from the history. I'm more into it from the camaraderie. Because anytime I go to a coin show, it's just, it's great. It's great to see other people that I know. It's some of the people I only see once a year. And so that's really the focus for me going forward.
Outstanding. I know that in my case, I collected for a couple different reasons. One, again, my grandfather, right? We talk about the older generation bringing in, gave me a coin that was 100 years old when I was born. And 1873 seated. I took it. I started studying Christian Gobrecht, right? He's like, come back to me and tell me everything you can about this person, and I'll give you the coin. And so I went and learned about Christian Gobrecht and went and understood kind of what was going on and realized some of the things that he had done. And I was kind of hooked. I really liked the history of it. But what I found myself doing was what was happening in 1873? What else was going on in the world? And I found that I really liked the history of what was happening during the time frames, probably a little bit more than the coins. As I got older, I started enjoying the coins and the designs and really digging in, but it was the history that really kind of cemented that for me. And you guys probably see that in my chats and in the live streams that I do or in the videos that I do. I love the history because there's so much going on with what was happening during the time frame. What are the elements of the coin? What does it mean for the seated Liberty to be sitting on the rock or the pedestal? What does the shield stand for? Why was she with or without a sword? Why was she lifting a olive branch, or why was she carrying the oak cluster? What do those things mean? And so kind of digging into the representation of where we were at. In order to understand those things, you had to understand where you were at within the nation. Looking at some of the foreign coinage, uh, Greek and Roman and British and German, and looking at some of the histories that happened during that time frame. What was happening during the time that this coin was being minted, and I was fascinated by the history of it. Right, so when Coach was like, is it the historical and artistic value? For me, that's what it was. And then the other piece is what Jack has been saying, and what people in chat have been saying, is it's community. I found a bunch of people who, like me, across the globe. By the way, huge Royal Coin Channel show. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being here. Definitely appreciate you being here. But speaking of that, I mean, again, the connections across the globe. I mean, we have people that have come from all over the globe that pop into here. And I think that's amazing to be able to share and learn and identify things. And just there's so much knowledge to be shared. I think it's cool. The next question comes from Emerald Coast. This is a great one, Emerald Coast. I've seen a lot of chat about this. I'm heading to my very first coin show, which is the Fun Show. What a great one to be at your very first coin show. Great one. Don't get overwhelmed. Stay away from the FOMO aspect of things. Could you provide me do's and don'ts, buying, negotiation, etc.? Wow. I think we have the rest of the day to talk about this.
The Fun Show's a great show.
The big one is do your research. Kind of have an idea of what you want before you go there.
And walk around and look. I mean, it's a big show and it's there for 3 days. Walk around and look and, figure out what you want, how much money you want to spend, even if you don't want to spend any money. But, if you're sitting down at somebody's table, and especially if you're like at a budget section and you're looking through a box of what most people would call junk coins or the budget box or whatever, if you're there for a while, I'll spend a couple bucks and buy something. That because you're taking away space at their table, and that's what I would say. Be conscious about how much time you spend in front of somebody and asking them questions.
Yeah, and I like something that Paula said. Keep your hands out of your pockets, right? Go look at the coins, right? Actually get in there and see what's going on and look at what's there. Ask questions. When I went my first coin show in a number of years, one of the bigger ones, I kind of walked around, didn't know, just left and going, I really don't know what I got from it. And then I went to Tulsa. And when I was there, I started talking to some of the people. And obviously we had the YouTube folks there, and I was chatting and meeting people, but talking with some of the coin shop owners that were there. And one of the guys was like, do you like baseball cards? And I'm like, you know what? I do, but I don't collect them. I think the fascinating stories. And he reached in and he pulled out, and I don't remember what card it was. I want to say it was Babe Ruth and wasn't Mickey Mantle. It was another big one, but I can't remember who it was. And a Nolan Ryan card. And we just started talking baseball and, what teams that we used to watch when we were kids, and, where we live, and, do we still watch, and that kind of stuff. And what kind of things do we collect? And then we started talking about art. And obviously there were places where people would come to the table. I yielded the conversation so that he could support the person. And he was very respectful of that. And then when I got ready to walk away from the table, I bought something from his table. And at the end of the stuff, everything was wrapping down. He walked over because I told him that I like space and I like stuff, whatever. He gave me Apollo 11, one of the 50-cent pieces, and said, hey, you said you like this. Nobody picked this up. I wanted to give this to you. Best of luck in your coin collecting. Hope your channel does well, and be well. And it was one of those things where it was like there was a relationship established. Still talk to the person every once in a while. We email each other probably once every 2 months. But if it wouldn't have been for just sitting down and having an opportunity to talk to somebody, I spent like $30, $40 at his table, and then I got something cool from it. I wasn't expecting another coin, but there was more engaged there. And he every once in a while will see a really nice ship coin come in, and he'll call me and say, "Hey, I found one of these. Are you interested in getting it?" And I picked up some coins from him from there. If I wouldn't have had the opportunity to talk to people, if I wouldn't have actually taken a chance to say hi, I wouldn't have that resource. So don't be willing to talk to these folks. And sometimes you're going to meet them. Sometimes they're going to be jerks. We talk about people that are not very friendly in that. Just say hi, do your business, look, and then if you buy something, you buy something. If not, leave. There's a lot of collectors. There's a lot of coin shop people out there that are very nice. But I will give you one bit of a warning. Just because they own a coin shop doesn't mean they're knowledgeable. So do your due diligence, and if you have questions, be willing to walk away from it. Anything you guys would like to add?
Nope.
Go ahead, Eric.
I'm all set. I'm done.
I was going to say, don't buy a counterfeit. That's my advice. And to be honest, I do it now every show. Maybe it's the engineer in me, but I will get the program and I will go through it and identify those dealers that I definitely want to see. And I will go through and I will look at some of the forums I'm in, and I'll look at the Facebook pages, and I'll say that individual is somebody I need to go see at some point during the coin show. And so I actually put together kind of a plan ahead of time of where I'm going to go and where those folks are. And then I just kind of browse it. And I think others said the same thing. If I see that a dealer is really busy and I've got questions, I wait till he's not. And, I did that with the counterfeit that I found in Chicago. I waited until there was no one there, because that's an embarrassing conversation, at least in that particular aspect. But, I try not to impose on people. And when I'm really interested in something that they have, then I will take the time to be with them and go through that. But if I'm just browsing and, just kind of saying hi, they're there spending their money to be there, and they're there, as a business. And so I don't want to get into the way of whatever they have going on.
Yeah, and again, if you're going to be searching varieties and errors and stuff like that, it's kind of an unwritten. If you guys bowl or play darts or something like that, you don't just walk up and shoot if somebody's up there. You wait for the person next to you to finish, and then you go ahead and you throw your ball or you throw your darts or whatever, right?
Exactly.
There's kind of an unwritten code of conduct, a policy that it's just, respectful. And one of those is, if you're going to sit at a table and you're going to go through the cheap bin, or you're going to go through the junk silver bin, or you're going to go through their pennies and look for varieties, or you're going to dig through their slabs, buy something, show that person respect, because like Eric said, you are taking space away, and you being there might defer somebody from having the opportunity to do what you're doing, and they may buy a lot more than you do. So again, buy something just because it's just a respectful thing to do. Vote for Pedro. This is an interesting question. I talked about this the other day very briefly. Thought on insuring numismatics. If you have, it depends. There's multiple places. I saw that Paula had listed something about the money.org, right? Some of the stuff that they have there, the ANA. If you're going to look or even consider numismatics on an insurance policy, you're going to have some stuff appraised. You're going to have photos. You're going to have to document. And again, I mentioned the other day, if you're going to be tracking this, whether it be for silver or gold, whether it be for whatever, you're going to want to document those items. But this is a very personal thing, and this is Frosty's 2 cents. I'm not an investor. I'm not a financial advisor. None of us on the panel are. But I will say this. If you're worried about people knowing what you have, having a detailed list in an insurance database might not be one of the best things to do. Why is that? Well, because all of your information is tied there and people can look at those records. Even though it's illegal to do, people do it. So be very careful on that, especially if you're running very, very, very high-end dollars. The other thing is don't announce what you have to a lot of people, right? Don't make yourself a target.
High-end stuff should be in a safety deposit box.
Yeah, and I remind people all the time, like, my valuables don't stay at my home. I don't make my family a target. I take all my valuables. I have an offsite place that all of my valuables get stored. And I don't mean, like, I keep general coin books and stuff around the house if I'm working on stuff. And, you know, there's never tons of money regarding the collectibles that I have at my house, because I don't want people making me a target, right? And so it would be different if I was one of these channels where I never showed my face and I never did any of that. But I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, be smart about it, protect yourself. And if you are going to have stuff like that, then stack the other precious metal and make sure that your family and stuff is protected. But as far as insuring it, there are companies that will allow you to do that. You can take them to facilities and put it in a bank, but reminded that just because you put it in a safety deposit box doesn't mean that your item is secure. If that bank closes, they shut their door, that's lost. So you have to make sure that you have certain protections put in place if you're going to store your stuff off site. And have your insurance. I would lean more towards credit unions than I would banks, but most credit unions don't do that because of that. But again, be very careful about that. Consider it. Talk to a financial advisor.
Away from that.
Say again.
I says most banks in general are getting away from safety deposit boxes.
Yeah, yeah.
I know that there's a lot of contraction. I know people that have their collections in safety deposit boxes, and you get notice if a bank's closing, they just don't lock their doors. I mean, I guess it can happen, but usually, like, you'll get 90 days notice. You've got to get your stuff out of the safety deposit box. They'll either tell you this branch has safety deposit boxes and we'll get you a safety deposit box, or they'll tell you there's no safety deposit boxes available through our bank anywhere near you.
Yep.
But
so
yeah,
just be careful.
Most banks don't have them.
Yeah, the important thing there is if you're going to store it off site, really understand what the premise on the property ownership is. Because as Gold Sniping Farmer, we've talked about this in the past. If a bank fails, your stuff might be gone, right? And they should be giving you notice, but banks close. We just saw this happen with a Bank of America and accounts being closed. Now they were able to take care of some stuff, but there's a big video on this right now.
Yeah, that's the coin dealer thing. That's not uncommon. Comerica did it 2 years ago. If they thought you were buying and selling coins, they closed your account because they consider that a form of money laundering. Yeah.
So, but again, there are other issues and concerns with some of that stuff. So, be very aware of it. I'm not saying not to do it, but do your research. There are companies out there that you can insure it in, but don't just arbitrarily buy insurance, because again, depending upon the insurance where you get it from, some of that stuff is public information. So be leery about some of that stuff. Talk with your financial institutions, talk with your insurance companies, make sure you understand what's happening. There's a lot that you should have a financial expert working with you.
I don't like to be negative, but you know how I feel about insurance.
Oh, I get you. Yeah, again.
You're going to get 10 cents on the dollar if you're lucky.
Yep. Me says I don't even like keeping my money in the bank. Yeah, I understand. But you do have to be careful. So just again, be informed and make sure that you surround yourself with good people. I'm not a financial expert, so I'm just giving you my frame of mind. I'm not telling you to or not to, but find somebody who is doing that and heed their advice, heed their warnings. Nick Molnar, what's going on, brother? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you in the streams. Another brother from our northern Canadian mother. Hope you're doing well. And there was one more question. Unfortunately, I was moving something and I lost it in chat. So if you have a question and I missed it, please put it back in chat because I seem to have missed it.
Mike has an announcement to make.
Oh, Mike, announcement. Make it. Fire away. Yeah, you don't have to ask. Who's got the LCS spots in Southern East? Gold Sniping Farmer, Yankee Stacking. Check if you're a member on Yankee's channel. He's got a listing of various coin shows as well, or coin shops.
Harlan Burke is in southeastern Illinois.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Next Sunday, Aaron Burke and I will be on Talk Ancient Coins, collecting and podcasting in a relationship with them, or a relation to them. Excellent.
They'll be here.
That's
next
right.
Sunday.
And I'll be watching.
They will be here. Yeah, so
Northeastern. All right. Sorry about that, Mike.
Say that again.
He says it's Northeastern, not Southeastern. I thought Chicago was, I guess it is Northeastern.
Yeah, he's in Chicago. Yeah, we are aware of that, Nick. Yeah, the loss of streak is going to be felt across. He was in tons of streams. That's a very sad thing, but yeah. Appreciate you letting us know. But yeah, they will be here next Sunday. Aaron's going to talk ancients, and then they're going to have their podcast and everything else. But so if you're a new subscriber, you like ancient coins, make sure you're hitting that notification bell. The link to next Sunday is already there. You can go to the live streams on my channel, click on it, and then hit notify me, and it'll give you a notification 30 minutes ahead of time. So if you want to know about ancients, you definitely want to be coming on and checking that out. I guarantee you it'll be good because there's a lot of knowledge coming from there. What about you, Jack? What do you got going on? Anything fun for you in the upcoming weeks?
I've got a couple articles that I'm writing. That's always fun. I'm waiting to get some coins back from ICG. We had a very interesting meeting, and I took 7 coins in that we reviewed and have them put in their holders. So that's basically it. You know, returning from a vacation in Tampa where I saw my granddaughter and she ran me ragged for about 5 days. That was great. And of course, got back today and our air conditioner broke. So we are waiting for fans to get delivered. But other than that, no, another week coming up. I get some more articles written and get them posted. That's pretty much what I've got going on.
Very cool. And again, Coin Week. Go to Coin Week and you can type in Jack Young and you'll see tons and tons of his articles. Again, very knowledgeable. If you are interested in the old flowing hair, the cap bust, anything from that realm, Gobrecht dollars, he's got some amazing articles out there. So make sure you're checking that out. Again, on the Facebook side, Fun with Fakes. If you go over there and you sign up and you're brand new to that, please let them know that Frosty sent you. Brown Sugar, what's up? I haven't seen your name for a while. Hope you're doing well. Great to see you. Hope you are well. Hope everything is going good for you. It's great to see you in the streams. But yeah, go check out Fun with Fakes. Go check out Jack Young's channel there on Facebook. And again, tell them that you came from Frosty's. We want to really support that channel. A lot of fun conversations happen there. Eric, what are you guys doing as far as reveals this weekend or this week?
I've got one reveal at least today, and then I got a reveal tomorrow, but I might have 2 today. I'm not sure. It depends what my boss has for me. For those of you that don't know, that's my wife.
Oh, I was like, okay, well, you don't normally call Chuck your boss.
No.
No,
My
I'm
boss
just kidding.
is my wife.
What about Chuck? What's Chuck got going on? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I haven't talked to Chuck. I know that he's expecting a tropical storm. That should be hit sometime today or tomorrow morning. But it's here or there. I think he did plan on doing reveals, but we'll see how the weather treats him.
Okay. I just sent him a text message. I'll see what he responds to.
Yeah, we got 10.9 inches over the last 48 hours.
Yeah, because you guys are getting all this stuff that had just inundated the hell out of us.
Well, it's that time of the year here, too. We get an inch like real fast all the time in the afternoon. But it literally like soaks right into the ground and is gone and dry in, an hour. I mean, it doesn't start collecting until you get 35 inches.
Chuck says he doesn't have anything planned, but he might have some reveals. So stay tuned.
All right.
Frosty, I have an old mystery coin I can't identify. Can I email it to you and you look at them when you get a chance? Fire it away, Coach. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull that up. We'll see if we can identify. No promises, but we can definitely give it a stab. Are you guys up for it?
Sure.
And Jack's like, did you just ask me to look at more coins?
I'm good.
He's smiling. Oh, I just got a notification that my the coin's being shipped. Yeah, fire it off, Coach. Let me know. And then let me know what email you send it to. We'll pull that up. Let's see. I know that LiveCoin Q&A had talked about doing something. I'm not sure if they're going to do nothing or not. I don't see anything on their schedule. Frosty, I have some ancient coins that need to be ID'd. You can send me the pictures, but I'm not going to be able to ID them. What you can do is, depending upon how Sunday goes, you can send them to me. I can send them to Mike, and Mike can get those in front of Aaron, and they can do that. But yeah, next weekend is going to be the time to do that, next Sunday. I'll have to talk with them about, I don't know exactly how Aaron's going to work this. He's been given open door, like I'm going to be basically a moderator next week. So they're going to do what they do, and I am not even going to be asking Aaron questions. He's got his agenda. He knows what he wants to do, and we're going to just open the doors.
And their information is amazing.
Yeah, and I have you guys have been in streams when Paula and Eric and Chuck are talking, and I have no problem just being quiet and listening. I like to talk. You guys know that. I like to talk. But next Sunday, I'm definitely going to be the fly on the wall. I'm going to be quiet on that. So I don't see any photos coming across yet, but I may have to give it just a few moments. Let's see. Any other questions? Anything else that you guys want to chat about? Freaking awesome, says Robert Bruce asked about the eagle on the Cheerios dollar. Oh, what do you want to know about that, Robert? There's more than one. If you're talking about the cross-hatching pattern, I did talk about that last weekend. But there's more than just the tail feathers on that. Yeah, and again, I'm sure I missed a couple questions throughout that. What do you want to know about the eagle? How to identify it? There's a couple different ways. One of them is the cross-hatching pattern on the back of the eagle's tail. If you look up Cheerios dollar, you'll see that there's a straight line variety, and then there's one that has a crosshatch pattern. The
I think the
crosshatch pattern.
talons are different too.
Say again.
It says I think the
The
talons.
talons are different. Yeah, there's a little bit more detail in that. But Paula sent me some information a while back indicating that the Cheerios dollars also contained some of those that did not have the cross-hatching pattern. And so the only true outside of the crosshatch ones to tell is if it's in the packaging. That's really kind of the only way. Let's see what we got here. Oh, wow. So I'm not sure that we're going to be able to identify it from this one. He's giving us a challenge. You'll see what I mean as soon as you see these images. Hold on. This is worn down. It looks like it might be a large scent. You guys ready for this?
Well, that looks like the reverse, right?
Yeah.
That is the reverse, yeah.
And then there's the obverse. You can see Liberty here. Stars. Not sure what this is.
That's interesting.
Looks like maybe graffiti, counterstamp damage. I'm not sure. What would you guys say? Most likely a large scent?
Yes.
Yeah.
Impossible to know the date.
I expected slick, but I didn't think it was going to be that slick.
Yeah, it actually looks like it had been caught in something because the wear on the right side, there's no rim at all. You can see there's just a very small portion of the rim. Potentially heat damage? Dryer coin? Maybe?
No, it's just very well worn.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. If you could send me the images, I'd spend a minute after this and see what I can find out.
Yeah, I'll fire those off.
Yeah, I'm trying to screen print it, but it's not working very well.
No, I'll send you these. They're fairly decent quality, so I'll just fire
Okay.
the email off to you.
Yeah, fire them off to me and I'll give them a shot.
Asperosity. A good word. Yeah, so I'll email that. I'll forward that off right now.
I love a challenge.
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, I wasn't anticipating that, but want me to send this to your AOL, Jack?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
Okay, it is on its way.
Thank you.
Very cool. Yeah, that's interesting. What I like about this is where I have a diameter and weight. Well, if you have a diameter and weight, you can send it to them. That's definitely going to help.
Absolutely.
The wear is going to, I mean, we know it's a large scent, but the wear is going to have, the weight's going to be a little bit reduced because of the wear on it. But the dimer and stuff definitely help. But very cool. I'm trying to see if I've missed anything while I was pulling that up. Robert, you'll have to send me that the lines on that are very definitive. Okay. And if just you see a couple lines that look like scratches or something like that, it's definitely not it. Just look at known images of it, and you'll see.
The big difference.
Yeah, it's a significant difference. It's not just a few minor lines. It's a major design change. So you're definitely going to see that. Farm Dog, thank you so much for being here. I always appreciate your support and appreciate you coming in. Your channel around the poker chip is on its way. I sent that yesterday, so you should be receiving that in a couple days. Appreciate the support. Jack, email me your address. I want to get you my channel sticker and the poker chip as well. I know you don't have one of those. Eric, you have one of those, right?
I don't.
You don't? Okay, well, I have your address. I'll send you one. So let's do this. If I can have you guys in chat, both chats, just be entering into chat. I'm going to do a quick giveaway. Is there anything else that you guys would like to chit-chat about, talk about? Email me. I'll get you one. Mike, yeah. So if you guys are members and you don't have one, send me an email. Let me know, and then I will get those off in the mail. All my members should have one. If my members don't have one, if you want to be a member, join. You'll get one. But again, if you're already a member on my channel, let me know and I'll send you one off. Everett Rice, good day. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Rosie Key. Yeah, 1909 VDBs are cool. Now, the reason that I'm showing this particular one is that this is one that's often associated with having the S mark added to it. So in relation to the topic that we were having today, not only that the Indians sent 1909, but the VDB as well, which is that one, right? This is another one. Both of these are synonymous with having S mint marks added to them because they are both key dates within their particular run. And so Rockzilla has been a member for 13 months. Time does fly. In fact, I do appreciate all the support. So yeah, I pulled those out so we could talk about adding the S mint mark on that. Speaking of the mint marks, if you haven't already done so, if you're watching, go look at the shorts. The July contest is about the 1916D. And the question is it authentic or is it not? Look at the information that I give you in the short, make your determination, put a comment down below, and we will pull the winner at the end, and we will break that down and explain why it is or is not authentic. Me, plank owner arriving. A matter of fact, there are 4 of you who are plank owners that have been with the channel ever since it started. And if you are one of my plank owners, and I think all of these have been sent off, there's a very special sticker, and there were only 10 of them made, and I have one right here. This is the last one. This actually belongs to Bifrost, but she has that here. This is a plank owner sticker right here. And this is one that I've given to those people that were the very first, the OG members on my channel. So very cool. New members. Am I missing something, Roxilla? Oh, it's just the notification. Not sure what's going on.
Freaking awesome. Gave up 10 memberships.
Oh, holy smokes, I missed that. Freaking awesome. You're a stud. Thank you so much. That it went by so fast in my chat, I totally missed it. So let's see. Angie Carlwell, John Shank, Stacy Nat, Eric, Sergeant First Class, Opus, FG Stacker, Jet Mech, or Joey Brown, All Things Silver, Cansclaw, Angry Warrior. Dude, freaking awesome. You're a stud, man. Thank you so much for that.
It's nice to see regular names back too.
Say again?
The regular names are back instead of the at names.
Yeah, I noticed that. I don't know what happened. I wonder if
fixing it.
I wonder if people complained about it, or they finally finished their scrub, because I know that they were talking about doing a scrub because of all of the names that were being utilized, the fake names. You know, how people would change the name of their site or their alias.
Somebody, yeah.
Yeah, and I think they were trying to do that to see if people were trying to track that down, but they had been talking about some major issues with that. So freaking awesome. Thank you so much. Just appreciate it. Robert Bruce, Robert Bruce says he loves watching. I appreciate that. Yeah, Rosie Key, I agree. They are good. They are very cool coins. But again, if you were a plank owner with the first 10 members, and they've been with me 19, 20, and 21 months. So again, just a huge kudos to those folks that have supported the channel. Many of you have been so good to watch the videos and comment and drop super chats and memberships and stuff like that. I just want to say a huge thank you. We do this for you, right? And Jack, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being on.
Thank you.
I know you tried to last time, but you were on your tablet, so it was hard to get that to connect. But
it never worked. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so this is something, and I'm going to be sending out an email. There are a number of people. Mike, if you're still here, Mike might have had to go. But there are some of you that have open doors. Anytime we're having a discussion and you want to come up, you don't have to ask. Just click on that button, pop up, and come on in. Jack Riley stands the same way. Coin Show Podcast. Yeah, Mike, you and your entire coin shop, just disseminate that. They want to come in. They want to say hi. If Russ Bega comes up, just make sure you notify me so I can get Paula a towel.
Right.
She's always drooling every time he's around. It's so fun. You listen to her voice, and her voice fundamentally changes tone. It's hilarious. But obviously, Chuck and Eric, you guys have the open door invitation. But the reason that I do this is because I really want you guys. Number one, I want you to know how much I appreciate the work you all do. What you do for the community is second to none. 949, $10 super chat. Good morning, all. Heading out to a coin show with the goat in a few. Be well. Will, don't be bad. Stay out of trouble and enjoy yourself. 949 is another person that is a great example of how a little bit of a miscommunication and somebody being willing to work through a miscommunication can turn into a great friendship. And 949 has been an amazing supporter of the channel. So thank you so much for that, 949. I really do appreciate you. But anyway, you guys, open door policy. Anytime you want to come in, because the breadth of knowledge that you provide, if we're talking about something and you have something to add, some insight, you guys are welcome anytime. And I don't make that offer lightly, but my channel is your channel. And so if you guys have something that you want to talk about, you send me something and say, hey, I'd like to take over 30 minutes of your stream and talk about something that we just identified, or I'd like to do something like that. I'd be more than happy to relinquish the reins and to give you guys that, because this is about protecting our community. And that's what I want this channel to be about. So I want it publicly stated that, Dan, I just got that. Thank you so much. I'll get that out to you. I appreciate the email. I did get another one just a second ago, so I'm getting notifications from my members. Please, again, if you want a channel round, and one of my normal Frostbite stickers, which is here. This is Stack Elector. This is the thing that I do with Tiger Stacker, and then I just knocked everything over. Lovely. You'll have to see it in a minute. I've got to dig through all this sticker mess that's on my thing, and then that's my normal one. So you'll get a poker chip in one of those, and I'll be sending those out as soon as I get you guys' notifications. Yeah, absolutely. But again, Jack, Chuck, Eric, Mike, Matt, obviously Paula, you guys always have an open door to the channel. Okay. So anytime you want to come up, there's no need to ask. But again, I appreciate all you guys do. I appreciate all you do for the community. Folks, if you are not subscribed to Copper Coins, if you're not subscribed to Lifecoin Q&A, if you're not subscribed to Jack Young's Facebook page, Fun with Fakes, if you're not subscribed to the Coin Show podcast or the Ancient Coin podcast with Aaron Burke, go check those channels out. Amazing information, great people, lots of corny dad jokes with Mike and Matt. It's just, there's a lot of fun to be found. And again, I want to push channels whose hearts really are about protecting the community. And so thank you guys for all you do. I just want to say that a heartfelt thank you, because it really does mean a lot. You guys are impacting our hobby in a positive way.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate being on today. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I
always have fun.
I will say that I just looked at those coin images, and I looked at the diameter and the weight, and that does not appear to be a large cent. So I'm going to spend a little more time on it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, the weight and the diameter are not correct.
I can imagine the weight would be off.
Well, the weight will be off, yes. I mean, but you'd be surprised how little you actually lose just losing the surface details.
Yeah.
The diameter is off as well.
Maybe half cent?
No. It's large. It's larger than a large cent.
Oh, like it's too big?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. Do you need the thickness?
I'm just going to spend some more time looking at it. It does appear to be copper, so I mean, the first impulse made sense, but the diameter in the email you sent me does not make sense.
Interesting. Very cool. Well, Coach, you will get some due diligence. I appreciate you looking into that, Jack. Rosie Key, just subscribe to your channel. Love coins, always wanting to learn. Well, make sure you're hitting that notification button, so you get notification when videos. I release videos Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, depending upon what is happening during that week. And then every Saturday, Sunday, same time, 8:30 Central Standard Time frame, I go live, and you never know who's going to be on. So, Daddy Dave, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Thank you for all the thoughts and subjects this morning. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to actually be wrapping things up. It's 10:30. I'm going to go have brunch with my wife and kick back and hang out with Bifrost. We're going to do a little bit of artwork and just kind of pal around today. So I wish you guys the best. Again, if you will please do me a favor, send prayers to the folks that have lost loved ones and the little ones and the tragedies that happened here in Central Texas. And again, for the folks that we lost this last week, Starika and Alden, a big love and big hugs to their families. You'll be missed. All right. Well, Eric and Jack, go ahead and say your goodbyes if you would.
All right. Always good being here, and I'll see everybody on the stream in a couple weeks.
And I really appreciated it. I'll see everybody on the dark side. And just let me know, Frosty, when you want me back on.
Anytime, brother. Anytime.
All right. Sounds great.
All right. Take care. Yeah. Angie Starika died the other day. Nick put out something on it. If you want to go check that out, you can definitely do that. Was very sad. So yeah, if you didn't know that, then I hate that you had to find that out here, but yeah, unfortunately that was something that happened. I will say this, folks, again, if you haven't already done so, on the shorts, go check out the July contest. I'm going to be giving away some silver coins to the winner. Last month's winner was OC Stacker, who won a silver quarter and a sticker and a chip pack. So big kudos to them. And you know what? They're fun and you'll learn. There's no wrong answers, only opportunity to learn. So take care, folks. Be well, be blessed. Thank you all for coming in today, for all the subscribers, for all the super chats, for all the gifted memberships. Y'all rock. So be well, be blessed. Take care, and I will see you in the streams. Ciao.